now, several European nations have shelved plans to wear armbands in support of LGBTQ rights at the World Cup in Qatar because of the threat of their players being sanctioned. Football's governing body FIFA has warned that it was a breach of their rules. The governing bodies, England, Wales, Belgium, Denmark, Germany, the Netherlands and Switzerland, said they had written to FIFA in September informing them about the One Love armband, but did not receive a response. Same-sex relationships and the promotion of same-sex relationships are criminalized in Qatar.
Ladies and gentlemen, FIFA has today prohibited a statement in favor of diversity and human rights. These are values to which it commits itself in its own statutes. This is more than frustrating from our point of view, and also an unprecedented event in the history of the World Cup, I believe. In my view, it is a demonstration of power by FIFA. FIFA made it clear to us that we would be threatened with consequences for the sport if we did not comply with the request not to wear the armband.
Nicht zu tragen, nicht nachkommen.
And that's the German Football Association President Bernhard Neuendorf. Now, for more on this, let's cross live to Qatar and speak to sports news correspondent Oluwatomiwa. Toby, good to see you, Toby. So several European teams in Qatar scrapping plans to wear armbands in support of gay rights, and that's over fears their players may be penalised. Tell us more.
Yes, it's quite interesting. It's been over a couple of weeks and months. We saw the English FA right to say, yeah, they'd reached out to Qatar, they'd sent in their emails in September and had no response. And the direction was going to be today. They would have come out, the likes of Harry Kane for England, Gareth Bale for Wales, and a couple of players, like you mentioned, from Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, as the team goes, to support this sort of one love. But then we know Qatar has always said no sort of geopolitics or politicking of this kind will happen here. So at the end of the day, we saw the game take on England playing Iran 6 goals to it's an 8-goal thriller. Harry Kane, unfortunately, not on the score sheet, but we saw all of the goals coming in from the players. And we also saw from the Iranian side as well, refusing to sing to the national anthem. We saw the fans also booing when they were having the national anthem. And we saw from Mediterranean, he's probably the biggest Iranian star that most people can relate to. He plays for Porto, big in Europe. He scored 2 goals and we saw him not celebrating. Ideally, football in Qatar has always been domesticated for this current government, and the women-led revolution, as it were, would have players either seemingly cutting their hair in support of the women or pointing to the sky, showing support for the national side. But we saw none of that today, more of the silence during the national anthem, which in itself was as loud as any other demonstration could be. But back to England, though, Qatar saying no form of geopoliticking or political demonstration of its kind. But we don't know how far it will go. We know, yes, England have said they won't do this. Wales have said they won't do this because there's the yellow card ban that comes with it. And picking up 2 yellows means red, you miss out on the game, and how it will influence the sport. So as much as all of the politics have come before the game, we've seen that during the game, and also certainly speaking to fans and the likes, they just say they want a good game of football. And it's seemingly what we're getting so far.
Right, okay, you rather leapt across the field there to the issue of Iran, which I was hoping to get to grips with you. But let's stick with that issue that we talked about earlier, and that's a European team scrapping plans to wear those armbands. I mean, this late guidance is another example, isn't it, of organisers leaving decisions on controversial topics until the last minute?
I mean, yes, you explained it yourself very clearly, Charles. We saw there was the drinking, there was the alcohol or no alcohol. We saw in not necessarily in the stadiums, but around the stadiums, and they were allowed. Budweiser also being one of the biggest sponsors heavily in that deal. And then we saw 2 days before the World Cup started, no drinking, no alcohol anymore, except designated places, or if you have a license, or at the hotel, or at the fan zones. It's a sketchy one when a country with its rules wants to open up to the public or to the general public. How much can you open up to them without also circumverting your natural laws? And what then? How do you make a compromise? Pretty much is the game at play here. So far, so good, though. Speaking to fans genuinely around Qatar, certainly around Souk, Wakifa, Ramat, it's like a marketplace, big in Doha. The fans I've seen from all sides of the view haven't been too bothered about the rules changing. They haven't been too bothered about the drinks. There's been the bother about getting tickets or technical difficulties into entering the stadium. But certainly the politics of it is not really bothered fans as much as we've heard from, or certainly as much as been reported by the Western media so far.
Okay, Tobi, I want to thank you very much indeed for talking to us there. Oluwatomiwa. Tobi is, of course, a sports correspondent, and he was talking to me there from Qatar.